Hello everybody, this is Kiyoshi here and welcome back to another episode of Kiyoshi's Aquarium. Today's topic, we'll be talking about some updates and changes to my Nano Aquarium, as well as some future plans for the tank. We'll also talk about a very popular household plant called Pothos, and it's also a very popular plant for the fish keeping hobby. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's talk about updates and changes to my Nano Aquarium. I still have the tank running. To your right, it's the main tank. To your left, it's a smaller tank, which I call it the shallow. And also they're connected by a tunnel, which I call it the bridge, or just a tunnel in general. They connect the two, and then the fish can swim around. The livestock that's in the tank, it's mainly pygmy cories. I do have a school of those. I have little shrimps in there, and also two micro crabs, tiny micro crabs, and one snail. That's about it. The original fish that's living in it, that's my betta fish. I named it Buzz. Unfortunately, passed away. I think I had him for maybe 6 months, maybe a little bit over 6 months, around 6 months, less than 7 months. Yep, unfortunately, I didn't see anything happen to him or anything negative the day before his death. I still fed him that night, said goodbye, but the next day, when I, around noontime, that's when I turn on the lights. He's already gone. So, yep, unfortunately, I do not know if his death is due to an illness or if it was due to, his age or just genetic. He was not healthy to begin with. But anyways, unfortunately, he passed away. So that's the only change to the stocking in the aquarium. We no longer have a betta fish. Aside from my Nano Aquarium, the tank that's the main focus of this channel, I did have a 10-gallon aquarium, which is filled with hundreds, if not thousands, of red cherry shrimps. I sold all of my shrimps to my local aquarium. I made just slightly over $200 out of it. So it's a pretty good deal if you have shrimps and you have local, fish stores. Try to sell them to your local fish store. Usually cherry shrimps are very popular, especially the one that I have. They're very popping, high quality red cherry shrimps. I sold it for around $200, just a little bit over $200, and then I took down the 10-gallon. Unfortunately, I just do not have the time to run this many aquariums anymore. I had the 10-gallon for over 5 years, so it's a little bit heartbroken, but I have to do what I have to do. So yep, I took that one down. I still have a 5-gallon running. I will soon get rid of that 5-gallon as well. One of my cousins is very interested in taking over that 5-gallon tank for me, and I am planning to give it to him. Yep, and my 10 gallons, that empty tank, I gave it to one of my female cousins. She's also a fish keeper, so she has needs to that 10-gallon. So after all those are settled down and being removed, the only tank that I have remaining will be the Nano Aquarium that you guys are seeing. That includes the main tank and the shallow. So yep, by then I will have more time dedicated to this tank. I mean, it's a very easy tank to take care because it's a Nano Aquarium, very small. Altogether, it's less than 4.5 gallons. So it's a very small volume of, a small aquarium. So it's very easy to take care, especially, the tank has been matured. It's fully cycled and everything. Everything it's already, running the way it's supposed to be. So very minimum work required. I do have a little overstocking, which I will cover that in a minute. But other than that, yeah, I'm looking forward to some future plans and changes to the aquarium that I plan to make, which I will tell you guys a little bit. Yep. Anyways, so after my betta fish died, I discovered that both my shrimps and pygmy cories had babies, which, I didn't really pay like close attention to it because usually when I'm not filming it, the pygmy cories are, not that outgoing unless I'm feeding them. And the shrimps are like usually hiding as well. But every time when I'm filming it, all the pygmy cories tend to come to the front for some reason. They really like to be captured on films. So as the shrimps, I see my shrimps more often when I have the camera on, to be honest with you. So yep, that is interesting. Anyways, after my my betta fish died, I'm not planning to add any more betta fish to the tank, not just yet, because like I mentioned, I discovered that my shrimps and my pygmy cories definitely had babies. The shrimps I have discovered a couple weeks ago already. I didn't do anything about it, you know, probably while the betta fish was still alive, he probably ate a couple babies. I really didn't do anything. I didn't remove fries or anything like that. Just let nature run its course. And I still see at least like 6 or 7 baby shrimps in the tank. It could be more, it could be less. I didn't, like I said, I didn't really do anything special to it. I wasn't really planning on breeding the fish, the shrimps anyway. I have what is it called? The pumpkin orange shrimp. That's what it's called. I got it from a good deal from a local fish store that was on sale. I think 3 for $15. And yeah, like a couple days later, I already see babies. But like I said, I've never done a close search or like really watching or paying attention to, you know, what's going on in the tanks. So I really don't know the total number of fries that's in it. Like I said, I'm gonna let nature do its thing. You know, if my pygmy cories end up eating some of the shrimp, that's fine. Or if their parents, those, you know, bigger shrimps are eating it, or the micro crab that's eating it, it's okay. You know, just let nature do its thing. If I do end up with a lot of shrimp, I will sell them, because these are the cherry, not a cherry. These pumpkin orange shrimps do sell very decent price. I know at least in my area they're sold at around $8.99, so they do make good deals. I will not overpopulate the shrimp, but I will definitely keep a couple shrimps. I introduced 6 shrimps in there, so definitely now has more. So yeah, I mean, unfortunately that my betta died, but at the same time he's dead. Out of his death, it's like a good timing, sort of, while, you know, this tank is full of babies. Next to my pygmy cories, I originally introduced 9 pygmy cories, a school of 9 pygmies into this tank. And then yeah, I didn't do anything special. All I did was just some frequent water changes. I do about 10 to 15% water changes for 1 week in a row to, you know, replicate that raining effect, and also the water's cool down a little bit. I always keep the water temperature around 76 degrees. And a lot of time tropical fish are said they need from 78 to 82. I like to keep my fish around 76. Just from my experience, 74 to 76, around that range, or 74 to 78, around that range, fish are actually healthier. I'm talking about the tropical fish. If you guys know, a lot of the disease do happen when the temperature goes high. Like above 80 degrees, a lot of time there's going to be disease. When it's too low, of course, their immune system goes very weak. They're very vulnerable to disease as well. But from 74 to 78, that's like the perfect range for the fish. And also, it's just good to fight disease. That's just from my experience. I had no problem raising my fish with that temperature. Also, they're considered tropical fish, but still, tropical fish sometimes, you know, different tropical fish also have their own temperature requirements. Pygmy cories in particular, they're perfect for 74 to 76 degrees, in my opinion. Since I introduced the 9 pygmies, I had 0 casualty, which has never happened before in my life. I always have experience with dwarf pygmies. I had a colony of salt and pepper cories, and they also produce in a 10-gallon. Same as pygmy cories, I did have experience with pygmy cory. They're my favorite type of Corydoras. So I kept 9 of these, but definitely right before this video, I tried to count a little bit. I definitely see babies. I definitely see pregnant females in there as well with like a huge bellies. Anyways, there's definitely more than 9 pygmy cories in my tank. So yeah, another miracle. I wasn't planning to breed them at all. All I did was just water changes, try to replicate the rain effect to see if they will spawn. I didn't really do anything to protect the babies, to raise the fries, or treat them differently. Yeah, I guess I'm just lucky. End up with some babies. They're very tiny, and they usually stay near the plants. So yeah, that's a good thing. Once again, if the population go out of control, I will probably sell some of the pygmy cories to my local aquarium store shops. Yep, just so that the whole tank will not be overpopulated. But for the time being, I'm fine with it. I don't know how many number there is, but I like to see them shoring and schooling sometimes. It's quite fun. Yep, so those are the updates to my tank. Both my pygmy cories and shrimps are having babies, and I'm happy to see that. Hopefully, some of the fries can grow up. Like I said, I'm not doing anything special to protect the fries. And I do have shrimps. I do have 2 micro Thai crabs. You guys have seen my previous videos. I got them by accident. They were in the Clover Japan plan that I purchased from my local fish store, and I just kept them there. I think they all eat fries in some ways when the fries are small, especially. Yep. I do have a bit of algae problem going on. That's another update that I want to share with you guys. I do have a bit green algae and a brown algae going on in the tank. So now I am doing a cutback on both feeding and lighting. Now I only do about 5 hours of lighting from like 11 to 4, around that. Previously I do 7 hours. Now I just do like 5 hours of lighting. So I did cut back a little bit, but I am being very cautious. I'm paying close attention to how my plants are doing. I don't want to cut back on the lighting affect my plants growth. So yeah, if anything goes wrong, I will just dose more fertilizers, liquid fertilizers to the plants, as I do see a little meltdown on the Clover Japan, but the Java ferns are doing great. They're doing fantastic. So as the banana plants. Yep, I do have one Neri snail in the tank. It's a horned Neri snail. It's still a baby. It's very small, so it does its job. I think he's very happy. He's munching on a lot of the green algae. However, he hasn't been really cleaning on my brown algae at all. I mean, there's just too much food for him. For his size, so I'm pretty happy. I'm not planning to get more Neri snails, but because basically the rules are you're supposed to keep 1 Neri per 5 gallon. Too much is sometimes not good, because once all the algae are cleaned or cleared up, you do need to provide supplements to your Neri snails. Otherwise, they will just go hungry and die. Some people suggested me to get autosynclus. I do have experience with autosynclus. However, I am not getting autosynclus for this particular Nano Aquarium. First of all, it just doesn't fit. Autosynclus, a lot of times being mistaken, because a lot of times for Nano Aquariums, people keep 1 or 2 autosynclus. But autosynclus are just like any catfish or tetras. They need to be in a school of at least 6 or more. The more, the better. So definitely, being a small tank, I already have a lot of stock in terms of pygmy cories. I am not going to introduce more schooling fish to the tank, not at all. It's gonna crash the whole ecosystem with all these livestock. So yeah, and I don't want to put 1 autosynclus in it or not. It's just too small. It's too small of a tank for autosynclus. So yep, I will count everything on the Neri snail and my shrimps doing the work for me. At the same time, I cut back on the lighting, and I also cut back on the feeding. Previously I feed 2 times a day. Now I cut back to just feeding them once a day. Let's see how it goes. Hopefully that will help to fight the algae. I'll keep you guys updated on that. So yeah, those are the updates to my aquarium. Nothing else special here. Yep. Let's talk about Pothos. I do have Pothos, if you guys can see, it's on the bridge, and it's also from the shallow as well. Pothos are very popular houseplant. They're known for quick growing, easy to take care, require very minimum lightings, minimum nutrients. They can all survive. They have a very strong survival rate. And of course, if you have a lot of nutrients, a lot of lighting, they will grow faster and stronger as well. In the aquarium hobby, these are also very popular plants to keep your aquarium clean, free of nitrogens, nitrate and nitrite. They're very fast growing, and also a lot of time they can outcompete with the algae. They can outcompete with a lot of the plants in your aquariums as well. So if you have floating plants that you want to kill off, a lot of times using pothos can also help, because they will outcompete with your floating plant, because their rates, their speed of growth, their growth speed, it's even faster than any of the plants you could think of. So they're a great source for sucking out all of the nitrogens or bad stuff that's in your aquarium, and that's why they're so popular. And I do recommend it for any nano aquariums in particular, especially if you have overstocked aquarium like I do. I do have a lot of baby cories. I mean, you guys don't really see it because I don't have like, it feels like the tank is quite empty because I don't have like tetras. I don't have anything swimming from the top portion or the mid portion. All of them are bottom feeders. But being like less than 5 gallons, I do have quite a bit of pygmy cories. But luckily, they're doing great in there with all the cycled water and all that. So it's not something you want to replicate that easy. You want to make sure. I'm probably gonna have another episode talk about it, how I succeeded with my overstocking in this tiny 4.5 gallon environment with all the pygmy cory school of pygmy cories. I probably will maybe go more depth into it to share with you guys how I succeeded, and if you guys want to replicate something like that or want to do something like that, maybe I give you guys some suggestions, yes and no's. So hopefully stay tuned for that video. Anyways, back to pothos. So there's a lot of pros of pothos, so I do highly recommend people use pothos. I know there's a lot of people also use bamboos and some other house plants, but definitely the most effective one, the strongest nitrogen killer is pothos. However, there's one con. There's a negative thing about pothos that you want to be careful, very, very careful about. Pothos, like I mentioned, they're very quick growing plants, and they will outcompete with a lot of the plants, aquatic plant that's in your aquarium. For example, I have Java firms, so I have to pay extra attention on Java firms well-beings, because Java farms are slow growing, and a lot of time they will not be able to outcompete with pothos, because pothos are going to suck out a lot more nitrates for their growth as compared to the speed of Java farm. A lot of times you don't want to have too many pothos or too many pothos leaves in your aquarium water, because they're just gonna outcompete with any other plant that's in your tank. And while your pothos are gonna grow big and grow healthy and green and beautiful, your other aquatic plants might die, might melt down, might start to turn yellow with lack of nutrients for them. So do be careful. You want to keep pothos to a minimum. If you have a heavily planted aquarium, you don't want pothos to take over all those nutrients from the water. Second thing I want to remind you guys, pothos leaves are poisonous to fish. If you have fish that are known to eat leaves, they're herbivores or like to eat plants leaves, make sure leaves of the pothos are not anywhere near the water surface or under the water, because these are poisonous to fish. Your fish, once they eat it, the leaves, they can die. The stems and the roots of pothos are fish and shrimp safe. There's no poison to the roots or to the stems. That's why it's okay to put stems and roots in the water, but definitely just remember, never put leaves, pothos leaves, underwater or on the surface of water. That if you have herbivorous fish or fish known to eat leaves, they will eat it. They will die because that's poisonous. So those are just a few things that I know about pothos. Once again, pothos is very easy to find. I highly recommend it. They will benefit you in the long run. Give them maybe 2 weeks when you first introduce them to your aquarium. Let them adapt to to your aquarium's parameters and everything. Once they are ready, they're just gonna grow like crazy. For the aesthetics and overall, it's a perfect plan for aquariums. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. That's all that I want to talk about in this video, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.